And just reflecting then back on the weekend, you spoke to Charlie after the game, and you mentioned how disappointed you were with that point. Having had a few days to reflect on it, how do you see it now?
The same. I've looked at it back. I think that we're pretty dominant during the game. They didn't create too much really. One or two half chances first half, and we had some quite decent chances really. I think we can create a lot more. I think we can be a lot more intense in our play in the final third. A lot more, take more risks. But I think on the balance of it, it's a game that we should come away with 3 points, but we don't. So it's a bit frustrating, but also good. There's a game quick round the corner, so we can work to try and put some of the details right.
I was going to say, is that something that the squad have put to their back of the minds very, very quickly? Of course, the Weymouth goal was a bit of sloppy play in the build-up for
Yeah.
them to go and score. Or is that something that's been put firmly at the back of minds now?
Yeah, I think like you have good games and you have bad games. Like this won't be the last time where we come away and say we think we can have done better or there's things to improve on. I just think that's all part of like a weekly kind of process that you have. On the Monday you reflect on the game, you look at things quite openly. Right, that can be better. That was good, but what do we need to do for the next game? And um, yeah, I often refer to it like as a like them cartoon leaking pipes that you get. So like it springs a leak and you start to plug one bit, but it pops out the other side, and then you got to plug that bit. So it's always something like we'll solve a load of problems on Tuesday night, but another leak will spring somewhere else, and that's your job as a coach to keep on top of all of those things. So it's yeah, we put it behind us, but we use it. We use the game. We're not afraid to look at what wasn't good enough and just say, look, we've got to improve at this.
You had the luxury of a full week build up to the Weymouth game. After that, bonkers bank holiday weekend where you rotated the squads
Mm.
and you made it clear that you were going to rest certain players. Given the fact we're now in a position where there are three games in the space of a week, can we expect those type of rotations tomorrow as well?
I don't. I think everybody's come through it well, and I don't think there's any. There's not anybody that needs. I don't think a rest, but it can always help to freshen it up. I think the players that came in, Aaron, Cairo, and Ed all came into the game last and all had a positive impact. So we've got good players on the bench. We can freshen it up and change it up, but it's not like I think against Wrexham, some of the decisions were forced based on the short time between games. But we're in a position now where if we change, it's not necessarily forced. It's just to maybe freshen it and change it around a little bit tactically.
And players like Cal Roberts, I mean, we speak about him all the time, don't we, for what he does on the football pitch. But of course, with his injury history, is it at the back of your mind thinking, kind of monitoring his game minutes, or do you feel that he's in a position now where he's almost back to normal in the way that he can recover from games?
Yeah, I think he's back to normal, probably what he was before. I mean, he's still building up his minutes, but he's in a position where he feels good today. I don't think if there's a risk, we won't take it. But at the moment, he's in good shape and he feels good. So, of course, we have to manage him like all the other players. But at the moment, yeah, he's in good shape.
You spoke before the season about how important it is to grow into a campaign. But where do you kind of see the growth at the moment? I know you're disappointed with the number of draws that have been there, but and off the pitch, how do you feel that growth is going right now?
Yeah, I think we're in a place where probably we thought we would be. We're not firing yet. We don't feel like we're as fluid as we can be. I think we can still be better than we are, but it's a lot of new players into a new way of playing as well, and the relationships and the connections for this kind of football need to be built up. But at the same time, we haven't lost any games. We've been difficult to beat. We've scored in every game we've played. So I think we're growing into the season, but I still think there's more to come.
Looking at the National League, I mean, you must look at your phone after the game and look at some of these results that are coming in and going, that absolutely mad. And it seems that anybody can beat anybody this season. You're still unbeaten, of course, and there have been some disappointing draws. But does it kind of put things into context when you see some of the other results that have been coming through?
I think so. I think that it's so easy to look at perhaps Weymouth and Wealdstone and Maidenhead, and I mean this with all due respect, but the size of club, fan base and history is not the same as, of course, what we have, or maybe what like the likes of Wrexham, and so forth have. So it's very easy sometimes to look at them and just assume, well, this is 3 points in the bag because it's a smaller club, and we should. But they're in the same division as us, and some of the players that they have are very good, and the coaches there. I thought Weymouth, Brian Stock has done a brilliant job, excellent coach. You can see that they're really well drilled. So it's so easy to think that this is how it's going to be, but the league constantly surprises you because it's very, very competitive, and there's some difficult places to go and play, and you see so-called big clubs dropping points against the smaller ones, especially early on in the season when every club's more or less got everybody fit and they're firing on all cylinders. I think then it's a challenge. As the season thins out, maybe the competition is, you get a bit more clarity on it. But in these early days, like you say, there's a lot of unusual results.
Wealdstone last season would have, been pretty much a comfortable 3 points for most teams. They went on that rotten run last season, but they seem to be a completely different proposition now. It seems like it's going to be a tough game tomorrow night. Absolutely.
I mean, they're, looking through their squad list, there's some very good, very experienced players in there, players that have played league football. They've had some good results of late, and they're certainly a strengthened side to what they were from what I saw from them last season. So I didn't come up against them last season, but the bits that I've seen, I think they're a much improved team and a different test.
2 home games back to back now. You've had some really difficult away trips this season already. How much are you looking forward to being based in Nottingham for the next 2 games and the opportunity that presents?
Yeah, I mean, I like the home games because we've got our fans here. It's a great pitch and our own environment, so it's always best to be at home. Some of the away trips are like the Weymouth ones, a long way down to go there, and not the easiest environment. So great to have back-to-back home games. We're really happy with that, and we no travel for the players through the week means that we can kind of freshen everybody up and go for it for the 2 games.
Wish you all the best. Thanks for your time, Ian.
Thanks, Alex.
Just a couple from me. How's Conor Rawlinson doing, and will he be fit for tomorrow night?
No, Connell's 2 to 4 weeks. I think it was just a turned ankle like in the training session. I don't think it was. It got him a scan on Friday, and he'll be maybe 2 to 4 weeks out, I think, before he's back. So a few games he'll miss, but then he should be ready. So it wasn't anything serious, but enough just to kind of put him out for a couple of weeks.
Well, was it slight ligament, or was it just?
I'm not sure. He blocked a shot, and it was his around the ankle area that just swelled a little bit. So just got to give him a bit of time for that to settle down.
And I know you touched on him before, Callum Roberts. I know he came off, didn't he, with about 20 to go on Saturday, because he said he was feeling something that was pretty tight. I imagine he's okay, is he?
Yeah, trained today and was fine. And just sat down with him now, and he feels good. So that's a positive. We saw him tiring towards the end, and that's when probably he's at his most high risk and vulnerable. So we just saw, look, it's better to get him off and not take any risks there, and hopefully then he's good to go tomorrow.
I think there was a moment in the first half where he I know he's because he's had such a long time out, but there was a moment in the first half where you thought, he looks like he's getting there. He had that injection of pace. He went past a couple of challenges, didn't he? Do you sort of sense you're feeling him getting back to his best in terms of his overall fitness?
Yeah, I think he's looking very fit, and the games. I think we all need to know that teams are going to look at some of our attacking threats, not just him, but Ruben, Carl Wotton, when Caro plays, whoever the attacking threats are, they're going to try and kill the space and stop them playing and frustrate them for periods. So, it's obvious that he can have periods where he's not influencing the game as much as he wants to, but then it's for the other players to step up in that attacking sense and support it. And then as they get success, we'll get more space for Cal and he'll come into the game. So I think he's been very good the whole season, as is Ruben and Woods as well in the front line. So we have to expect that there'll be moments in the game where it's quiet for him, but like you say, when the bits where he can kind of accelerate and show what he can do is coming more frequently now.
How pleased are you with the sort of the relationships that are building within the team? Because I noticed particularly in the first half on Saturday, the left-hand side looks very good. Carl Cameron, Joel Taylor, they seem to be developing a very, very good relationship on that side. Ruben as well, of course. All 3 interlinked very nicely, didn't they?
Yeah, and I think when you look at the team, Kyle Cameron's come into the team, done great, but he's playing with Joel for the first time, who's playing with Jim O'Brien for the first time, who's playing with Matty Palmer and Ed Francis for the first time. Ruben and Cal have barely played together, so I think when you consider all of them things, the lads are finding each other's strengths and weaknesses game by game, and yeah, the relationship certainly on that left hand side you saw at the weekend were building nicely.